Thank you.
All in.
As we welcome you back to coverage of the APT Eatons Hill $600 buy-in main event, 506 runners down to 9. Justin finds ace queen in the very first hand. $50,000 up top to the winner, Toby Alsop, with 30% of the chips in play with 9 left, in a really good position to take this one out. He's got plenty of company. Matthew Sykes, 3.4 million. He did lose that big pot, blind v blind versus Toby, but prior to that, flopping the straight flush and getting the full double certainly helps. We're at 50, 100, 100k as Sean picks up aces of 10 bigs.
One of them's a spade. You want me
Doesn't really get better than that. Some couple of notables here. Robert DeMillion working with 2.5 million. I see Tweeler there as well. I reckon she's already won an event this week, so get behind her as Toby puts the 4s in. Sean opting to raise off 10 here with pocket aces.
Did Martin do any good this?
Not really. I think he had. He bubbled the final table in the first event. I think the first good event last week at the beginning.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think so.
Defend the queen 8. There's a couple of queens folded there I saw, so as you can see the equities on the bottom left hand side. As soon as I say it though, there is a queen on the flop. He knows this range is pretty strong from Chun, so we'll look to tread carefully. That's just about the worst card in the deck for Matt. Yes, we are just over 0.5. Let's see what size Chung decides to come with here. He might be realising he's in a bit of trouble. As Chun decides to go for all of it here on the turn. Matt will ask for a count. No time banks in the main event, so players do have a reasonable amount of time to make their decisions, unlike all of the feature tables we've brought to you in the... Oh, I thought it was a call from Matt as he grabbed a stack of pinks.
I'm going to play
I realise that this line and range is incredibly strong. Raising off 10 into Matt's stack. Can Matt get away from this one? We had 150k guarantee here in the main, eclipsed by 113,000. Matt puts that one in, and he's going to be looking for the last two queens in the deck. One of them has been folded, so it's one out once for Matt. Sean will be looking to dodge the Queen of Spades on the river to stick around. 2.1 million in the pot. Six of clubs on the river. Sean will double up. That was a big one there. If you are just joining us, it's 9 left in the APT main event at Eatons Hill. $50,000 up top to the winner. A banner in the room at the next series as well in Sydney. And speaking of that, we'll have Tony Hasham in the booth with us for half an hour to go through what the plans are with APT going forward, get his insights onto how things are going at APT and what the plans are in the future. If there is an assumed name for Chun, should call him something else. I think I'm getting a lot of Leo in the chat, so if there is something I'm missing there, please let me know so I can call him by the correct name. He has just get the full double with the aces. Toby looking to raise this one up with the pocket fours. Looks like Jason Patel has a decision on his hands here. Looks like a 3-bet for about half of his stack with the sevens. And we have a confrontation here. Twi'lek with the ace-king offsuit. There's not many worlds where this isn't going in. I rued the day I said that, as Twi'lek just comes with call off 12 bigs with ace-king. Interesting spot now for Toby. Twi'lek just flooding the ace-king there versus Jason's 3-bet. It's going to be interesting to see how we proceed. Toby is going to see a flop with the fours, and we've got 1.7 million in the pot three ways on an FT. This is pretty rare. Effective SBA here is about half, and not too many people are going to like this flop. Certainly played out in an unconventional manner, as action will be on Jason here. Probably checking. He's going to move all in, and Twi'lek has given herself the best chance to get away from this. No diamond in her hand either. Just flooding the raise pre with ace-king off 12. Let's see how she proceeds here.
630. Fold.
And the ace-king goes into the bin. And so will the fours, and Jason going to take down a really big pot here in the scheme of things. Apologies to Twi'lek, it's just Twee, so thank you for letting us know. If I've got any of the names wrong, or there are any assumed names or anything, please let me know as to get Twi'lek on. So that's going to be Twee. And she got away from ace-king there. May have just saved herself the main event. Toby going to call here with the pocket fours. And Jason Patel in really good shape here to take down a 2.9 million chip pot. Certainly one of the only ways this hand could have played out for Toby to put the chips in did occur, as an ace on the turn. Twee is going to lament the day she didn't put it in with ace king and the queen of diamonds on the river. And Twee, you can just see her in her seat there, a little bit disappointed. She's going to leave herself with 8 big blinds. Taps the table. Jason, it might just be his day, because I dare say 99 times out of 100 he would be out the door. But the one time out of 100 he gets 2.9 million chips is the time that it matters. He's closing in on 3 million, Jason Patel. Twee a little bit disappointed there, but she is still in this tournament with 8.5 big blinds. As we're getting a lot of love for Chun in the chat. A lot of supporters of him at home watching the stream. We've had supporters from all around the world tune in during the week. America, all the way around Australia as well. And some lovely ladies tuning in from Chicago. As it looks like Leo Poker is, should correct me if I am wrong, but he's in a really good spot as well, doubling up with the aces. Toby still in the commanding chip lead of this event after losing that all-in first Jason. Still plenty to work with, but 47 bigs, the way this structure is and how this tournament is placed, is still quite a lot of chips. Andrew raises this one up from the button. Toby puts it in with the twos. I reckon this one's getting through. It's a spot on which we could probably call off ace-8 or better, I'd say. Just not be strong enough. It's like Andrew raised to 300k, 3x on the button as well. As we have gone up a level, 60k, 120,000. About 2.8x as Andrew puts this one in the bin, and the Ducks of Toby Alsop take it down. joined in the booth very shortly by Amin Riazadi, gentleman of the game. His banner up in the room, and if you were listening to our coverage of the Eatons Hill main event last year, you would have seen Amin Riazadi take that one out as he says goodbye. See you, mate. Lovely fella, as Toby's going to look to raise this one up with the Queen 5.
How'd you check?
Toby turning aboard. He's going to continue on a decent amount of the time.
That's all right. I thought you were.
I'm going to be joined in the booth by APT owner, former player of the year many years ago as well in the early 2000s. Tony Hasham will be joining us in the booth for about half an hour. Going to let you know about all the things going on about APT. But with the way this structure is, we're going to try not to miss any hands. Caught the all-ins for you as Matthew Sykes missing a hand here. That would be diabolical. That hand is now dead. Oh no, he's going to just make it. Arms reach of the table. Twila folding the 10-9 suited off 8.5 bigs. Let's see what Matthew rushed back to the table for King 7. Not going to cut it this time. We've still got 9 left here in the APT main event. $50,000 up top. Toby Allsop with the foot to the floor here. This one's going to be getting raised as well. Pete and Rob in the blinds. Yes, we've got a pretty strong rail of support here for a variety of players. So I'll do a recap around the room. It looks like they're in the money in the beast. Doubled the guarantee over in that event. Is there more than in the money? It looks like they're approaching the final table. As I take a look, Ray Wang, over $500,000 USD in cashes. Of course, he might be the only person that will ever win the mini main and a main event at APT. Not sure we'll run the mini main again, but which will mean he'll be the only person that's ever won the mini main and the main. Ray Wang looks to be the chip leader on the final table of the beast. So just look over my shoulder. Chris Kokonos from Melbourne on the FT. Aidan Glenn and Josephine Ting on the final table looking for a third trophy of the series. Get around Joe. Some notables in the money there that didn't make the FT. Corey Van Jarzeveld, Mitchell Frost, Doss in the event. He came 17th. And Michael Kalin, our bubble boy in the beast. Poor Michael, as have continuing coverage here. 9 left in the main event. This is what it's all about, 50K up top. We'll keep you updated about what's going on in the room. We've got the PLO 5 on as well. A few notables still in that. Johan Lees, Lachlan Crilly and Liam J, who is still in over there. Toby really getting good distribution to be able to put the pressure on his opponents. Working with 50 bigs, it's going to be hard. The path to victory will definitely be through Toby Allsop.
For all players in the beast. You're on the beast. This is your 90-second call.
As he takes another one down, 30% of the chips in play with 9 left. He's going to be feeling pretty good about himself. 5 stacks, 21 bigs or under. So things can change at the drop of a hat, as we know. Feel free to ask Tony any questions in the chat when he comes on. He's going to tell us all about what's coming up at APT, that Sydney series at the end of July. Venue nearly confirmed, but what is confirmed is the state of origin will be back. Didier locked himself as New South Wales team captain, and with an announcement to come of captains of the other states. Not that I have any inside info, but I reckon Dale Marsden will be captain of WA. Such an incredible record, going for 3 wins in a row in the state of origin is Western Australia. I'd be shocked if Travis Endesby wasn't in that team either, as Rob DeMillion looks to raise up with the King 7.
240.
To raise 240.
3-4.
For calls?
Have a count, please.
Oh, so you said all in? Sorry.
2-4
is all in.
Yes, Twila jams the Jack 9 over the top of Robert DeMillion's King 7, who looks interested here. Let's see how we proceed. It's only another 500 to call. Just wondering how well he could be doing against Twee's range. Twee, of course, folding the ace-king on that board. She would have nearly tripled up if she put the ace-king in pre, but lost that one after folding the flop. And deciding now Jack-9 suited is good enough versus Rob's range on the button. He's really thinking about this one, Rob. Of course, he was only 10 off a bracelet a couple of years ago in the seniors event at WSOP as Rob puts this one in, and it's just about as good as King 7's going to get in this position. And Twee is all in and at risk. 1.6 million in the pot. Twee looking for a fair bit of help here. Ace 5-7 doesn't change the outs for Twee. The outs here are taken into account, so it's going to be 4 outs once now for Twee. And the river, the 7 of spades, as Rob improves to 3 of a kind, and that's going to be the end of Twee's main event. Great run from Twee there. She might be ruining the day. The ace-king didn't go in, but gave herself a chance to get away from it if she so desired, and we're going to lose her in 9th place.
What a call, mate.
Things could have been different though.
Came to ruin some
She'll get
days today.
5,700 for her efforts. Great run from Twee, 9th out of 506 runners.
That's pretty tough.
And already winning a trophy this week is a pretty incredible effort. So GG's to Twee, as Tony Hasham, I mentioned to you before, is going to be joining us in the booth. We'll just get Tony set up and be with us for the next half an hour as we take you through the action here of the main event.
We have a ruling, please.
as we have some interaction here. Matthew raising with Queen Jack under the gun. Toby in the low jack. It's going to 3-bet the King Queen. And let's see what Matt chooses to do with this combo. That looks like a call. He wants to see a flop with the Queen Jack. 840 in the pot. He doesn't want a Queen high board, and I called it in for Toby. I'm not sure if there's a way out here, given Matt decides to call the 3-bet with Queen Jack. This is as good as it's going to get, and he's drawing pretty thin. It's a board that Toby might want to continue on quite a bit in ICM. They're saying we'll have a bet incoming. It looks chunky. This looks like 2/3. Goodness me. Really big size here from Toby, putting Matt to the test. And after Toby decides to use this size, Matt can't go anywhere. This is an interesting hand already. The SBR is less than 1. Matt with Queen Jack. Oh no, this is not looking good for Matt. We'll check this over to Toby, and after he uses that big size on the flop, it's hard to see Toby not moving all in. Seems to be the preferred of the options after the 2/3 C-bet in the 3-bet pot. Sizing up Matthew's stack. SBR less than 1. That is an all-in. And it doesn't look like Matt is interested in folding. He's peeled the 3-bet under the gun with Queen Jack. This Queen high board's going to get him in a lot of trouble, and he's drawing pretty thin if he puts the rest of his chips in. He doesn't like it. If he calls and Toby dodges a jack on the river, it's going to be nearly impossible to run him down. Trying to size up what Toby's up to. This is a huge pot in the scheme of this tournament. It's going in, and 92% of the time, Matt Sykes is going to be going home. He's going to need a jack and a jack only. Well, his main event is over. Toby in line to win a huge pot and take us down to 7. A jack or a jack only. That is a repeat 3, and we'll say goodbye to Matthew Sykes in 7th place. In 8th place, sorry. We lose Matt in 8th. After that huge size on the flop, it was decided it was probably too hard for him to get away. And we say goodbye to Matt, and we say hello to APT owner Tony Hasham, joining us in the booth for the next little bit. Welcome, Tony.
GC, how are you, mate?
Good hand for you to come.
Yeah, I know.
Come in.
No, he couldn't get away from that hand. Yeah, it was. He's played well. I mean, he's played well. I mean, knowing that he in order to get his seat, he did a squeeze.
Yes, I did hit the $100 squeeze.
$100 squeeze, yeah.
And we will have 7 left here in the main event, of course, playing for $50,000. 150K guarantee, which was smashed, Tony.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of hard work went into this series to get it back on track. Very proud of all our staff, TDs, dealers, our operational manager, Josh Monk, did a fantastic job. Great to see Natan and Mark Liddell from Kings in Sydney. It's been good. Everybody put in, all the 1%ers paid off in this series. Just giving back to what the players wanted. We spent the last 5 months working on, feedback, and and from what I hear from this series, players have been really
We had Didier in the booth, and he mentioned the same thing. He asks basically everyone at the table what their thoughts are going forward. Got a lot to say about the schedule and the structure, but from my point of view, I think, and from what I've also heard as well, it's good that the flagship events are still are back. You know, the Goliath, the Grind, the Drakakis Players Championships, the main event. Not that that went, but it's good that players know what they're coming in for, and the guarantees on those events are especially really good to have.
Absolutely right. Look, you know, in any business, you try things. You know, some things work, some things don't. I mean, you know, the Hasham Deep Stack event went off during the week. The poker shop event also went really well. The Beast today, you know, really
Doubled its guarantee.
doubled its guarantee. The main event, 506 runners. Both the Goliath and the Drakakis events, just under 100 runners. And that's with very little satelliting.
That's a fair bit.
You know, it just shows me how strong the APT brand is.
Yeah, that is going to be the small, right?
You know, we've obviously got our goals on the goals that we set and the standard that we set for APT. And you know, we're going to work and try and improve series by series.
Just talking about series by series, is there a little announcement or some little bit of info that you can give us on the next series coming up for APT?
Yeah, well, we haven't announced it yet, but APT will participate in a Melbourne event. An exciting announcement to come up. I can't mention it, but we will definitely be doing something in Melbourne. A series in Melbourne, but all in good time will come out. But our next APT series will be in Sydney at the Bella Vista Hotel, and we're really looking forward to working also with Kings in Sydney as a collaboration.
So we can 100% announce that it's going to be at the Bella Vista on the end of July, start of
This is
August.
on stream, right?
Absolutely. Well, end of July.
Give them a shout out.
I think
What's
it's
their name?
around the 25th of July to the 31st. Sorry, to the 3rd of August.
Oh, so it's just hard to do social things.
Which
with
will
it.
show that
Hard to eat. Hard to
you
go
know,
out to it, hard to
APT
like cook a meal at home.
to listen to the players.
Like when you have Christmas dinner, it's hard.
It should be a really exciting event.
Yeah.
New venue. We thought about going back to Bankstown.
Yeah, it is a good venue.
Well, we thought, look, you know, in this type of business, you know, the expenses are high.
Yeah.
But you know, we're getting great support. I mean, the feedback from this series has been overwhelming.
And going forward, Didier mentioned on stream that he has basically he's locked himself in as captain of New South Wales at the State of Origin. Is that something that you're going to lock in once a year, every year, the State of Origin moving forward?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we're looking at growing the State of Origin in such a way where you know, we're hoping to get it televised as well. And it becomes more of you know, a sport.
Well, we will lock it in now because the dates are up on the screen. Save those dates: Friday, July the 25th to Sunday, August the 3rd. You can lock in the Bella Vista Hotel in Sydney. That will be our next series.
And there'll be more information to come about around the series with the structures and the schedule and also, you know, the accommodation that, you know, we're looking to lock in for players. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
And what about the that State of Origin? We just had to cut you off a little bit, but Peter is going to move the King 8 suited all in for his last 9 and a little bigs. Let's see if Chun locks this one up with King Jack. He's got a decision here. Peter deciding King 8 suited is good enough for him to move in over Chun's button raise. And he doesn't like it. He's doing really well against Pete Sand. Not that he's to know. No time banks in the main event. We've had time banks all throughout the series, but players here in the main a little bit more time to make their decisions. As he does put it in with the King Jack, and he's going to be in really good shape to be approaching 3 million in chips. There was a lot of love for Fortune in the chat early on. Let's see if he can hold here versus Pete's King 8 suited.
Excuse me.
2 hearts on the flop for Pete. 3 hearts have been folded. A 6 on the turn. He's going to need a heart on the river or an 8, and it's all over for Pete. The repeat 6, as Chun will be approaching 3 million chips, and it's GG's for Pete in the chat, out in 7th place. 6 remaining here in our APT main event. $50,000 up top, and it's Toby Alsop in the driver's seat as Tony Didier did lock himself for the State of Origin captain, and he's going to be really diligent on how he picks his teams, but that's something that you're really keen to move on with moving forward once a year.
Absolutely. Look, we trialled it out in Brisbane at Voco, and it went right off. We established the State of Origin back in 2008, and that really worked. Players,
150.
they really love the structure and the team vibe. It was a great success.
And Didier mentioned that a lot of those players that were in the State of Origin. Most of those guys, Cale Burns and Malcolm, playing 5Ks, Triton 50Ks, and all that type of stuff. A lot of them are going to be keen to come back and play that State of Origin series. As Tony Hasham in the booth with me confirming we'll be back in Sydney in July at the Vista Hotel. Now, the State of Origin's been going on for a lot longer than people think. People might have thought it was the first one last year, but WA won the last one all those years ago. They won it again last year, so they're going for 3 in a row.
3 Pete.
As we are all in, and a call from Jim with the ace queen of diamonds. Justin all in and at risk with pocket 5s. Safe as it gets. 4 5s on the 6 deuce. Repeat deuce on the river, and that adds some outs for Chun, but it doesn't come home on the 6 6 2 2 3, and Justin will be approaching 3 million chips as well, as we're still 6-handed in the main event. As Tony Hasham joins us in the booth. Apart from the State of Origin, what other things are we thinking about taking on board and doing moving forward for the rest of 2025?
Well, we're looking at, obviously, a Melbourne series for APT in late October. We've got a draft schedule that we're just waiting on venues to come back to us to confirm. And then we'll be in a position to, in the next couple of weeks, to lock those venues in and send out, the rest of the year's schedule, including January, February 26 schedule.
Good, stay away.
Look, a lot of the new things that players can look forward to is that me being a player, I know exactly what we need in order for players to be able to wanting to come to APT series. We're looking at improving the overall running of the series, player chip counts. If you look on our website, you'll be able to get those chip counts, the live feeds. We're looking at doing in-house reporting. We did quite a bit of it towards the end of the series. And it's just a matter of trial and error, Jinxie. So we want to be able to give the players what they want. We want to give them the atmosphere, as you can see the setup, to the expense of bringing APT back to the home of Eatons Hill.
Such a great venue to play poker in as well.
It is.
The main event winners, banners draping from the ceiling,
Yeah.
the stage.
Absolutely. I even went down to speak to other affiliates within the area. I went to Empire, and they had the Mix Academy on with Shannon. I mean,
We both went up there and played an event, the Deuce to 7. I bubbled the final table, you bubbled the money.
I bubbled the money,
We
yeah.
came back a couple of days' wages. But what a great job Shannon's doing with those mixed games. You have always been really big on mentioning and working with other operators, obviously share staff as well. So Empire running up the road, a lot of players were coming and going. Had the bus going back and forth as well. So
I think George made the final table of the grind.
he did make the final table of the grind, correct?
Did he finish 5th, 6th?
Yeah, 5th or 6th, somewhere around there.
Great effort, George, if you're listening.
George K was on the final table of the grind.
And we've got Aiden playing in the Beast.
He's on the final table, I saw.
Oh,
He's actually on the final table, is Aiden Glenn. So
all you Brisbane players, if you're bored, you go down to Empire. Play the tournaments there. A lot of fun and a great setup too. It's a good little setup.
it is a really good setup, isn't it? As we have some interaction here, Rob raising.
Is that Rob Demillion?
That is Rob Demillion.
Oh, what a champion.
And I reckon this one's going in. Justin choosing to 3-bet the ace-5 suited, but he's going to get the bad news pretty shortly. And it does. Rob wagers all of these betting discs. Justin is going to hate this one. This is a little bit of Hollywood from Justin. This one goes into the muck fairly shortly.
Well, he doesn't really need to put it in, does he?
No, he's turning his hand. He's obviously choosing to bluff the ace-5 suited, but he just wants Rob to know that it may not have been a bluff and he had a little bit of a decision. So some Hollywood there. Really good setup up there at Empire and the Wanturna Golf Club or Country Club, whatever it's called. So, the new venue that we're locking in for Sydney, I don't know it myself personally. What's the benefits of playing out in that area?
It's for any poker player enthusiast. They're absolutely going to love it. They're going to love the way we've set it up, the way we're going to thing the venue. A bit similar to what we've done here, but on a bigger scale. The restaurants are pretty good. A bit like Bankstown, how they had their restaurants.
Yeah.
There's a sports club there as well. There's a number of hotels all around the venue. I think the players are really gonna embrace Bella Vista. They're gonna embrace it.
And obviously picking up the kings here. What are our plans moving forward with guarantees? Because from just from an outside perspective, it looks like the events that had guarantees were extremely successful.
Yep.
And the ones that didn't probably maybe could be moving around or were open to feedback and some change. So have a talk about that.
I'm going to break in 20 minutes.
Well, just from the data that we've received with regards to self-dealt events, the non-guaranteed events. We're looking at putting guarantees on a lot of the 250 to 350 events, 450 events. We'll get with the team and see how we can bring in dealer dealt events. I'm a massive fan of dealer dealt events.
Yeah.
We did schedule a couple of events that were self-talk events, and I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of players touching cards, players touching maybe the pot or other players' chips. They move all in.
Yep.
and you eliminate any situations, players taking chips or. How do I put it?
You just think what you're saying is you don't really want to have as many self-dealt events due to concerns with the integrity of the game.
Integrity of the game. Look, it's for me. Integrity is everything. And in poker, we've got to uphold. We need to uphold it. And having self-dealt events, it just puts us in positions of compromise, and the players themselves as well.
Of course, there is still room for them. There are. It is important to have people potentially coming. I had APT ambassador Shelley Pooley on the stream with us for an hour during the week, and what an amazing ambassador she is. And she thought it was important, players coming from pub events. There's a lot of pub poker in Queensland. Maybe that's the general step up to the bigger buy-ins. So there needs to be something in the middle there, whether that's something you want to accommodate or what you're going to let other operators accommodate as well. So.
Well, what I would rather do is, either do a poll or get some feedback. Would they rather, a $250 buy-ins with a dealer with a guarantee?
Yep.
Instead of, a $200 or $150 or $180 self-dealt event.
Yep.
Because I think when you get to the final table, there's a dealer deals the final table.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, I'll do what the players want. If there's a massive demand for it, we'll put them on.
It was going back 4 or 5 years ago, just post-COVID. Both of these rooms were packed out. Most of those satellites were self-dealt. A lot of those tables were self-dealt. So there is an argument the other way, potentially, to get people from pubs, home games, a little bit more of a safer environment because they're used to dealing to themselves in pub games. But that's obviously up to you to decide whether you want to be the regulator that does that or leave it to APL and whoever else.
Yeah, look, again, if the players, if there's a demand for it, we'll put on, the platform's there for the players. Now, if we get, if the feedback is, there's a strong demand for self-dealt events, I just think from an integrity point of view that, look, for the poker operators, that saves me money, paying dealers.
Yep.
I'm actually giving the lower end players that can't afford the bigger buy-ins, either you play at $250 with a dealer dealt with a guarantee, or they play, they can also play satellites, and that's something that a lot of these low stake buying players, or all players, should be. Satellites are unbelievable. That's what goes price point.
And what would be the best way, I'm thinking, to get in contact with you or APT in terms of actually being able to provide feedback? Facebook page, email?
Yeah, our social media pages, messages. Give us all the feedback from the series. Tell us what you want, what tournaments, what you picked up was really good, and what wasn't. How can we make things better? Because the platform here is for the players.
Absolutely. And Jason just going to fold second pair after defending versus Toby. Thought maybe Jason would have peeled one off then. 6 left here in our APT main event. Tony Hasham in the booth with us. 50,000 up top. All players guaranteed 11K. As we lost Matthew in 7th, spinning up from one of those squeezed flips. $100 into 7K, not too bad. All players guaranteed 11K. Toby Alsop in very much command of this main event. Rob Demillion not too far behind. Rob actually wasn't too far from a bracelet a few years ago, probably 10th or 12th in the seniors event. Tony, I know you've been to Vegas many times. Any deep runs for a bracelet that you've had in your time? I reckon you've been deep in a World Series main event.
Yeah, World Series main event in 2011. I finished, I think, 32nd or 37th.
It's a big run. What would have been up top that year? 8 million?
7-8 million, yeah. Yeah, close to it. Back then it was the final 9.
The November 9.
November 9.
Yep.
Came close. And that was exciting. Year 2012, I made the unofficial final table of the Tournament of Champions, $10,000 buy-in.
Yeah.
As a 6 max. I was second in chips, but as you know how poker goes.
It happens as we have some interaction here, Tony. I might interject. Toby with King Jack, Justin here with Jack 10. SBR just over 2, so let's see what happens here. It's going to be more chips put into this pot. Justin flopping as good as he possibly could with Jack 10. Toby top pair. Could have some fireworks incoming here, but let's see how Justin decides to proceed. 2 spades on board as well. Could get on board with just getting this one over and done with on the flop. Toby's got that king of spades in his hand. Looks like Justin's just going to come. No, sorry, that's not a call. That is a raise to 700k. Interesting to see how Toby proceeds here with his King Jack. Does have that King of Spades working for backup. It's not over yet though. You can still see he's got 27% equity. And Toby's going to put that one in, and Justin will snap call the Jack 10. And he's going to remain in the main event with a 4.4 million chip pot, 73% of the time. Toby will be looking for running straight or spades or a king. So we're about to see a turn, and it is the king of hearts. Justin's going to be left close to dead. It's all over. It might well be Toby Allsop's time here in the main event as he drills the king on the turn. Andrew Beatty with 5 big blinds gets the pay jump. He'd be stoked with that king just as much as Toby Allsop and Cooper Felton would be at home watching this event. 11.1 million as we say goodbye to Justin. Played incredibly well, but that is a sick one he's not going to forget for a while. As soon as you've come into the booth, Tony, it's been action aplenty. Speaking about bracelets and Hashams, your nephew nearly took one down last year, runner-up, and they would have been the 3rd ever father and son duo, Tony and Dan, to win a World Series bracelet, which is pretty insane.
It was close. Daniel's a really good player. I mean, his composure, a couple of hands, if they had gone his way, it would have been a different story. I mean, Dan played well.
Runner-up to win a bracelet is always going to hurt. So hard to get there again. And of course, he would have joined Doyle and Todd Brunson as father and son bracelet winners. Correct. And there is another one out there. I think they're from Ireland. If anyone's in the chat that can remember, as Andrew. We got another all-in a call. Chum with aces. Andrew says Jack 10. He jams this one over Chun's raise under the gun, which is interesting, but he's going to have 20% equity here against the aces, and he does get a fair bit of help here. The clubs are covered, and a 7 on the turn. A deck read there from Andrew. Wow. Aces dead on the turn. And he will double up. Andrew can't believe it. And he will double up through Chun's aces. He's probably going to think of himself fairly unlucky, but if he had have just called, versus Chuni. Might have just checked jam or donk bet that flop, so I dare say no matter what, those chips would have been going in on the flop anyway, as Toby with 11 million chips in a pretty incredible position to take this one out. But as you know, Tony, anything can happen in tournament poker.
Absolutely. I mean, you're not safe until you win.
Couldn't agree more. And you had any luck over there at Empire yourself playing? I know you played the Hasham deep stack. Actually, we added 3,600 into the pool through bounties. You were one of those bounties.
Twice.
So,
I'll tell you what, it was a funny feeling not playing my own events.
of course,
You know, I thought, you know what, instead of spending the money on tournaments and taking players' chips, I decided to spend the money on the players themselves.
I think that's probably a good idea moving forward. Now, Josh Monk has come on board as, what would the title be? Operating officer, chief operating officer?
No, head of operations.
Head of operations. Talk about the importance of Josh Monk coming on board as head of operations at APT, a role he held previously. Now he's back.
Yeah, he's back. Obviously, everybody knows that we've gone through some staffing issues, and I'm not one to shy back from the truth. Some things didn't work out. You know, at the end of the day, we're back. Got a good team. And it's probably the first time I've really had my hands and been involved in the actual business, where it was under management.
Yep.
And but I still, as I said in the video, I took responsibility with what happened in Voco. But at the end of the day, you live and learn. And the players have responded well to my video. All my goal is to improve tournament poker in Australia and try to make it into a sport. Now, staffing is staff. When you're dealing with a beast like APT and a number of moving parts, sometimes you can't get it right all the time. And you know, I'm one to put my hand up and say, yeah, we might have got some of the things wrong in Voco. But it doesn't mean we're going to throw the towel in.
Yeah.
We come back bigger and better, and hopefully that's what we've done here in Brisbane. And what I also learned is that Eatons Hill is the home of APT in Brisbane.
Yeah, it certainly is. People love playing here. It's a great venue. You don't ever need to leave the restaurants, supermarkets here, the accommodation. As it looks like Chuna's moved all in from the small blind versus This is Toby. And he's going to put that one into the bin. Tony, it's been really good to have you on here. Before I let you go, is there anything else you want to let the viewers know? We obviously announced our Sydney series, 25th of July in towards April at the Bella Vista Hotel. Anything else before you take off? And anything else that you think anyone should know, because you've mentioned the feedback line is open, and I also, someone like Didier and our APT ambassadors, if you provide feedback to them, they can also pass it on to you as well.
Absolutely. I just want to reach out and say massive thank you to our dealers, to King's Poker Room. I want to wish APO all the best in their quest to this upcoming series. I think they've got a $4 million guarantee of guarantees next month.
Yeah, for the whole series.
For the whole series, which is fantastic. Wish Rod and Lauren all the very best. I'll definitely be there.
You'll be there playing?
I'll support the event this year. Another massive thank you to Rob Dorosky behind the scenes at Poker Shop.
It's okay.
And our major sponsor, Trakakis, the rings. We're looking at doing hopefully a bracelet for the new event that we're bringing back in.
I might just cut you off here as we have it all in a call. Sean is going to be at risk with ace-6, Rob with ace-9. It's a big pot. Rob will be closing in off Toby if he can hold here versus Sean's ace-6.
Surely it's got to hold.
There's a 6 in the window though. Tony does turn some extra outs, 7 jack or 9 as he ends up with the nut flush, and Rob licking his wounds down to 2.5. You just thanking Drakakis Jewelers. You're looking at having a bracelet for one of the events next season, series in Sydney.
In Sydney, absolutely. We're looking at the Sydney series is going to be huge. I'm not sure if I thanked all the dealers.
You did, but you can do it again.
We'll
It's
do
fine.
it again, and the staff here at Eatons Hill have been fantastic. Our Matty Marshall and Craig, who do a fantastic job.
They absolutely do an incredible job.
And behind the scenes with our live streaming, and yourself, Jinxie, been listening to you, and you do a fantastic job for us. So thank you, and Jamie Hall he's just a terrific human being. We've got some good people on board, and I'll just shout out to all the players that supported us. Thank you very much. I can assure you one thing: we will be bringing consistency and some really good tournaments and structures.
Love to hear that from Tony Hasham, owner of APT, the Australian Poker Tour. It's been a great series, hit every guarantee, and we're really looking forward to Sydney. But for now, thank you for sharing your time with us and all of your thoughts and opinions and plans moving forward for APT. It's glad to have you in. It was good to have you in here with us.
Thanks, Jinxie.
No worries.
Good luck.
16 of the break.
Ready, please, in the main event, we are going for a 15-minute break after your current house, please.
As we thanked Tony Hasham, host of APT, joining us in the booth as we interject with Sean moving all in with King 10. Toby's got a real decision here with the ace 4 of spades. Not sure what Toby's going to come with here. Could go either way with this one. Looks like he's going to put this one into the mark, and he does. Chun getting that one through. A lot of love for Chun in the chat. Toby still with half of the chips in play. It looks like we are going on a break. We are. So we're on a 15-minute break. Tony Hasham in the booth with us all the way through that level. That was a really good chat with Tony. We'll be back with you in 15 minutes' time. Toby Allsop working with 50% of the chips in play. Don't go anywhere. $50,000 up top in As we are back with you, continuing coverage of the APT Eatons Hill $600 buy-in main event. 5 remaining here. Toby Alsop with a foot to the floor, over 10 million chips. This level is 100k, 200k. The way these stacks are distributed, Toby's going to be looking to finish this off pretty quickly as Andrew moves all in from under the gun for his last 5.5 big blinds. King 7 suited, good enough for Andrew.
$1,085,000.
Ace 3 is probably doing well enough against a 5 big blind jam, but ICM can see Rob putting this one in the bin. He does, as Jason does as well. Andrew, the shortest stack, getting a much needed jam through there. Great chat there with Tony Hasham, owner of the APT, announcing the Sydney series 25th of July into early April. So if you're around Sydney or anywhere around Australia, get involved in that one. Bring you continuing coverage of the main event. 50,000 big ones up top to the winner here, as Jason just limping the pocket sevens. Interesting from Jason is he's out flopped by Andrew. He's going to start to value bet.
275.
Just under half for Andrew with second pair.
3 folds.
Last Eatons Hill main event winner taken out by Armin Riazati. His banner in the room. If you do take out this main, you'll have forever etched in history with a banner in hanging from the ceiling here, and have an event named after you as well at the next series in Sydney.
Raised 400. 2 fold, 3 fold.
Andrew decides the ace-9 suited is good enough here. Toby is going to muck this one after a bit of Hollywood. Still working with over 10. As he looks like he's in a lot of pain, doesn't want to let this one go.
Need to get rid of one, Rob.
Hey?
Need to get rid of one.
Yes.
And the ace-5 into the muck as we recap events from around the room. The Beast looks like they're on the final table. Cool $20,000 up top there, guaranteed 40k for that. Doubled it. They had 88k in the prize pool. The PLO 5 ended up getting 86 runners. The PLO 5 Frenzy, and it looks like Adam Thagard and Lachlan Crilly are on that final table. $5,000 up top there. Crilly looking to add another PLO trophy to his cabinet. It looks like we've got 5 left in the beast. Chris Kokonos out in 7th. And Ray Wang still the chip leader over there in the beast. Aidan Glenn from Empire Poker, he's still on that final table as well, all playing for $20,000 in the get out stakes, as I like to call it, the beast. As for 12 bigs we're working with here. Toby, it's going to be tough to not put this one in. He does. And Sean moving all in with the Queen 8. Gets looked up by Toby's Ace 7. And they're effectively off to the races. Toby's going to be nearly impossible to beat if he holds here. We have over 12 million. As we'll go to a flop. Sean will need a Queen or an 8 to stay alive. Adds a 5 to his list of outs, but 2 of them have been folded, so it's going to be 7 outs. That's just about one of the worst cards in the deck, with the flush draw now for Toby, and he will eliminate Chun. What a run Chun had. Survived the Ace 6 versus the Ace 9 prior to Rob Demillion. Toby Alsop absolutely rampaging his way to a main event victory. Look at how these stacks are distributed as we get a lot of GGs in the chat for Chun. We lose him in 5th place in the APT main event. 4 left, 50k up top. It's looking like Toby Alsop's main event from here on in. GG's in the chat for Chun. Toby can barely fit his chips on the table. That reminds me of Jamie Goldstack in the 2005 main event. Have a look at the amount of chips Toby's working with. Incredible stuff. And it's really tight around the middle of the pack between Rob, Jason and Andrew. Anything can happen. And I reckon 200k big blind, there is a point in time where Toby can just open rip nearly every hand with the way these stacks are distributed. Wouldn't be surprised to see that starting to occur here. This is definitely the biggest spot Toby's ever been in though, and he's handled himself with aplomb. 12 million chips. The lead here. It's already 1.3 million. Every pot between Rob, Jace and Andrew means so much with these jumps. Players will be looking to tread pretty carefully and wait for the next person to bust. As I go over the pay jumps with you, of course, Toby in the driver's seat for 50k up top. Second 34k and third is 28k, so it's an $8,000 jump for whoever busts next, and then a $10,000 jump from third to second, and of course a $16,000 jump to first. So really big jumps here. We're dealing with 15, 20 buy-in jumps. And when that's in play, I reckon Toby can just hit the all-in button nearly every hand. Happy to be proven
please.
wrong though. He's
Thank
got
you.
some great players in his corner.
Oh, sorry.
This is a monstrosity of a stack. Yeah, Bonnie, do agree with you in the chat. I reckon he can. I'll just be putting this one in. Toby looks to raise a 10-2.
Raise 425.
As actually
Two fold.
Rob taking that pot off Andrew with 3.5 million, so he's working with about 17 bigs. Maybe we can't start open jamming, but when we're at 2.5 million and less, I reckon Toby can put the foot to the floor and we'd see the chips fly. As Jason defends the 10-6 here. Just have a look at the room. Looks like Jason Badrugo has taken down an event.
Nine bets 400.
Looks like Jason has taken down the King's Playing Cards Super Freeze as he takes that one down for $2,750. Another trophy to the ever-growing cabinet of Jason Badrugo. Just having a look again around the room, the beast looks like they're five-handed. Ray Wang has quite a large stack over there. Aiden Glenn still in as well.
Nine raise 400. Two fold. Three fold.
Looks like Tony, who mentioned the Mixed Games Academy running up at Empire, our good friends at Empire Poker. Their main event has just finished, and I can see Matty Gin has taken down the Mixed Game Masters main event for 17,500 as well. The main event is a 10-game mix, and Matty Gin takes down another mixed game trophy. Pretty incredible effort there from Matty. Matty Gin won the APL Millions 9-game
Toby,
last year and takes down another mixed game trophy. Great stuff there for Matty as we continue our coverage here four-handed of the main event here at Eatons Hill. Jason and Rob have caught away a little bit from Andrew. We can just whack this one in potentially. Oh no, apologies, we're blind versus blind. Please scratch that as have that to a flop. Queen Jack versus 9-7, some interaction here. Robert with the gutter ball, Toby top pair.
That's 200.
See if Rob is going to run this one. Does take a turn. And Four Hearts comes in. Toby's still going to be pretty confident he has the best hand. Could be a good card to check over to Rob though. $1 million in this pot. Let's see what Toby comes with. Looks like just south of half pot here for Toby. And that'll end that. Back up over 12 million now for Toby Allsop. As there we go. Matty Ginn taking that main event down at the Mixed Games Masters. Lost count of how many Mixed Game trophies he's got. That is the 10-game mix. Friends at Empire held that one for the Mixed Game Masters. So congratulations, Matty Ginn, $17,500 Mixed Game champion yet again.
5 big blind with 3 tables left.
Raise 425.
You've been watching on the way up, so you can tell me all those bluff hands Toby's got, please.
Raise 400. Two fold. Three raise. 1.1 million. Hey? Can we do the run out? Yeah, right. $1.
It's the only hands I've been playing, mate.
All in
2-3 fold.
Aren't you supposed to wait for a caller before you say good luck? Is Connor here or not? They playing at TPC? I got messages from Mills and Jake.
Andrew, 7 bigs here in the danger zone. Apologies, 5.6. My math a little off. Of course, it's an $8,000 jump here as we were at that 100, 200. Oh, I thought we were 100, 250K. That's why I thought we had that. Still would have been wrong though, as our next level doesn't impact things too much. We go from 100, 200K to 100, 250K. So a bit of a smaller jump, and then we'll go to 150, 300K. So next level doesn't change things as much as most levels would. As you can see the clock in the background there, we are on 200, 100, 200K. Andrew, this one could be going in. We've got 5 big blinds, 8-7 suited. It's going to have enough equity here, I think. He does agree. Andrew Beatty moves all in. See if he gets looked up. It's looking pretty good so far for Andrew.
2 fold, 3 fold.
Of course, if you've got any feedback for Tony Hasham and APT before the Sydney series, get in touch via the socials. Tony is on Instagram as well, and I reckon a really good person to have a chat to about things is Didier Guerin. Can reach him on socials as well. A great ambassador. He's got a lot to do with the schedule and the structures. Captain of the New South Wales State of Origin team.
Wow, we get to see a pot 3 ways.
7 calls, 3 runners.
I know, right?
Connor.
2 bets, 600. 2-3 fold.
Toby having 58% of the chips in play at this stage is diabolical. Jason here with the Queen 10 suited.
3 raise, 500.
Dare say this one will be getting through from Jason. And we are on an $8,000 pay jump here as well, so Andrew here with the 4 bigs. Looks like the other guys are going to be waiting for him to bust, but thanks for joining us in the chat, Sam, all the way from WA. I agree with you, mate. It's been some epic laddering done by Andrew. Got in the Jack 10 versus the Aces, and Aces had 0% equity on the turn. It's always good to win that 20% of the time.
One raise, 425. Two fold, 3 fold.
Ladies and gentlemen, now lines are up to 100, 250, 250, please. 100, 250, 250, please.
Dealer change Jacob out. What a superstar he has been this week,
How much?
dealing our feature
100,
tables all
250?
week, every week. As I mentioned to you before, we are on to our next level, but it doesn't change things too much. We aren't going from 100, 200 to 150, 300. We're going
didn't
from,
go up.
3.
as the players are just learning that now, we know up here it goes from 100k to 250k.
Yeah, button is on 2.
Little unorthodox there, but things doesn't change things a lot, as Andrew's going to be forced all in. No, not forced all in, but he's going to have 500k. No, he's got 900k. I thought he had 700, but the blinds have gone up on Andrew's big blind, so he's going to be left pretty short behind here. Yes, I don't have stacks in front of me, just trying to calculate off the top of my head, as Toby here with the ace-9 is going to look to raise it up. It looks like Andrew has 410k behind. Rob Demillion, such an experienced player. Nearly took home a bracelet a couple of years ago in the seniors event. It's hard for Aussies to win bracelets. There's not many of us that go over. Rob Demillion nearly took that one down as he bins the ace-queen. Goodness me. That is definitely a function of Andrew having so little chips, but ace-queen suited, really? Wow, Rob deciding to bin the ace-queen. Was not expecting that one. Andrew, with half of his stack in the middle, wakes up with 6-4 offsuit. He's just realising now he can't do it. Would leave himself with 160k behind. So it would get him another orbit if he was to call and lose and fold the hand, but not sure. 6-4. It's going to do the job here. Rob bidding the ace-queen suited. Andrew deciding what the best course of action is here with the 6 high.
I know.
As there's a lot of laugh and hustle on the rail. A big rail here cheering on these guys here in the main event. Toby's got a lot of supporters. He's got a lot of supporters in the chat as well. Andrew in the blender here with 6 high. No time banks in this main event. We've had time banks in every feature table event except the main, and it looks like the 6-4 is going into the mark.
Might be live with 6-4.
He's putting it in, he puts it in, and he is going to get it in as good as possible. You think with 6 high, 40% equity. And you'll be looking for 6-4, maybe even some clubs to stay alive here in the main event. And it's looking pretty grim for Andrew Beatty. He's going to need a 6 or a 4. And it's a 4 on the river for Andrew, and he survives. Goodness me. The Rob and Jason are fuming there as they miss out on an $8,000 pay jump. 6-4 comes from the absolute clouds to take that pot down. Jason and Rob.
I'm happy with my decision.
Unsure about that one. $8,000 down the tube. Andrew's still short though.
He had such a big chip.
And a 4 on the river from absolutely nowhere. Andrew stays alive in the main event. We're still four-handed, 50k up top, $8,000 pay jump. Exciting stuff here at Eatons Hill. Jason and Rob head in hands.
I don't know. Sorry. How'd you go and think?
Toby still working with 50% of the chips in play here, four-handed, as Andrew counts his lucky stars, drills the 4 on the river to stay alive. 1.5 million. Working with about 7 bigs. $8,000 jump we're on as well. Queen 6 here, blind v blind. Look to raising this one up. Rob's second in chips. Allows Toby to put a ton of pressure on the second stack. We saw Rob fold the ace queen suited.
700,000.
Does come with raise. I think Rob's going anywhere. We saw him fold the ace-queen suited, but now he's got a real hand. Well, the ace-queen suited, of course, is real, but this is a big spot. He has the nines, and he does jam that one in. Toby looking to really put the pressure on Rob. Stack distribution allows him to do so. You'll know in about 20 minutes' time that Rob folded the ace-queen suited. We are at 100, 250k, 250k. A lot of love in the chat for Toby. Looking to take this one down. One of the biggest spots he'd ever been, for sure. Rob's been here and done it all before. Jason, I reckon Jason's actually won a main event as well, an APT main. He's at least chopped one, for sure and certain. He might have took that one out as well. So Toby here with the King 10.
One more. Dealer.
Dealer.
Ooh, sorry. My bad. Isn't that full? Two folds. Three raises, 500.
A one.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't mean much. Huh?
You probably had bigger rubbish there if you folded.
Yeah, well. No, Jack. Jack fine. Jack good.
They're talking about Matt, he had a huge stack.
There's Jace here with the pocket sevens. Remember, Andrew's back under a million chips. And
Three raises, 500.
he's going to raise it up. Oh, Andrew with aces. Here we go. Is he going to be...
It's 700.
This is going all in, and it's going to be called by Jason Patel. as Andrew finds himself in a great position to be over 2 million chips. Be 2.1 million for Andrew if he holds here with the pocket aces versus Jason's sevens. An $8,000 jump. Sevens versus aces. Andrew in really good shape here. Oh no, there is a 7-handed bag on the floor. The turn is a jack. Adds 2 more outs for Andrew. They're not there. Oh, that is a disgusting beat on the final table. A 7 right there on the flop for Jason Patel, who's been here and done it all before. GG's Andrew, what a great run he had. 4th out of 506 runners, and only loses when the aces get cracked here in the main event. Looks like we might have just lost the table mic there. I might have got a bit excited that that 7 was on the flop. I knocked something out, but does look like we have lost that table mic, but I'm still here bringing you the action. 3-handed. Toby in great place to take this one down still as Jason hits that 7 on the flop to knock out Andrew. Was a bit fortunate before Andrew did crack the aces when he moved all in from the big blind with Jack 10, turning aces dead, but it was his turn for the aces to lose as Rob raising this one up. No, sorry, calls. Jason checks this one behind. Going to have a lot of passivity between these two stacks, looking for each other to bust. We're on a $10,000 jump now. Winner gets 10,000. The pay jump. So next, we're on a $10,000 ladder. $50,000 up top.
Officially, yes. The duck off to the
So third place 24,000, second place 34,000, and then 50k up top. So Toby just moves seats. We'll move that card reader over. We are still 3-handed here in the APT main event. We're on a 10k jump and then a 16k jump up to first. 50k up top. Toby in the driver's seat. We have lost the table mic, and I'm reliably informed the table mic's gone for the rest of the day. So we managed to limp through to Sunday night until we had a problem, but it will just be me bringing you this event as this one might be going in. I apologise. I got that one wrong again. Jason decides to just call the ace-queen. And I feel like there could have been many options, many ways that these chips could have got in the middle. Working with less than 20 effective, but alas, Jason and Robert decided to take this one post. Toby's had 50% of the chips in play from 6 left. As if you can hear a bit of commotion in the background, it looks like Johan Lees has joined us in the booth. It's an open seat for him in commentary. He doesn't want a bar of it, but that is him in the background as we have another tournament that's come to its conclusion. That looks like the Beast. No, that's the PLO5. The PLO5, as I saw you catch that event, didn't you, Johan? No good? I do want to hear it. Okay, do it. We're going to have a guest commentator in the booth for a couple of minutes. Johan going to tell us his bad beat story Johan telling his bad beat story from the PLO 5 as that looks to be taken down by... We'll get more information on that shortly. As Johan leaves, I welcome you into the booth. You've had a big year, big week last week. And how have you gone this week, mate?
Oh, it's been a bit of an up and down week, but yeah, overall pretty good week. We went off to a bit of a rocky start, but we've had a couple of cashes late, a couple of cheeky swaps.
And
don't hurt.
Did you just bust the PLO 5? I've been reliably informed.
You do have some good sources. I did just bust the PLO 5. Got it all in. There were 2 tables left and we're on the direct bubble. I got all in. Liam J, who's all in on the other table. And we both bust. And we decide, so we have to chop up the min cash. Yes. But instead of chopping it up, we decide to play Animal Run. A flip. An app for the min cash.
And
I've been running so good on Animal Run. It's unbelievable. I've been choosing the duck. And I think I'm 8 from 8. So I thought this was a lock. I chose the duck. He chose the zebra.
I want to get back to that, but Toby's decided to fire a second barrel here on the turn, really putting the pressure on Rob Demillion. He's got top pair. So Johan, Toby's fired a bullet. He's fired on the flop and on the turn. Looks like he's gone full pot on the turn. What are we doing here if we're Rob Demillion?
This is a tough spot. Toby's definitely going to be applying the pressure here, but we definitely cannot be folding this just yet. I think the only play really here is to just call.
Stack distribution up here as well for your info. It's got 50% of the chips in play.
It is a dicey spot for Rob. He'd hate to bust right now, but I think he's aware that Toby's willing and capable of applying the pressure that he is right now.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
this will end the hand right here. Who even needs a river? Let's just end it right here.
As Rob is closing in on Toby's chip lead. Going back to Animal Run, were you the winner of that race in the end? Did you take home the min cash in the PLO?
I'm up here in the commentary booth with you, Jinxie.
Oh, so
let's put it that way. I'm out, and the duck did not win.
So Liam min cashes.
Liam gets the half min cash.
You know what the funny thing is? I reckon you were named as the person that got the min cash on the website, so you might have to get that rectified.
Have I scammed?
Yeah,
an official min cash.
A Hendon Mob entry, I believe. Oh no, you've both chopped up the 450, whatever that is. So you're both on there. I see.
Okay.
So is that 450 more than you actually earned there, or
450 more than the duck would allow?
And you said it was a pretty rough start to the week. How's your week gone? The second half of the week, have you managed to claw anything back?
We had a deep run FT in the grind. Cash for that. Got a bit of money back, so I can't complain. Played some good hands, some bad hands. Can't be too upset. Played to the best of my ability, I felt.
Talk about the hand that sent us into a bit of a tiz in the commentary booth. It was a raise on the button, and Liz, the 80-year-old Liz Busson, called in the small blind. How incredible is that, final tabling at 80 years old?
Yeah.
You decided to just flat the king-queen off about 16, 17, maybe? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it was about that.
And we thought potentially this one was going in, and Liz would have called you off with the ace-queen. Just talk about your thought process in that hand.
Yeah. I would love to say that I had some amazing soul read on Liz, and I just avoided death at that moment. But in hindsight, it was probably a misplay on my behalf, and just to escape the jaws of death by playing poorly and just playing pre-flop. And that's sometimes just the way it goes.
Sometimes.
There's some concepts that I just had in my head that I just misapplied.
Yeah.
And weirdly worked out for me in that favour to lose 2 big blinds instead of 17 or 16, whatever it was.
Did you get a jump from then on? Remind me, did that decision make you any money in the end?
I think so. I can't remember the timeline for certain, but I think I got 1 pay jump after that.
Of course, Johan Lee's in the booth with us. During the week, when you were on stream in the grind, I was told that I could only refer to you as Johan. Is there a story behind that? Because I wasn't told, but I kept getting asked to call you Johan. I thought he either doesn't know about it or he's been getting set up for something.
Yeah. I think Krillin might have mentioned it to you. I'm not sure. It's extremely hysterical for those who aren't named Johan.
It's got a bit of spice happening here.
Just as we have.
Toby gets check raised here by the exact same hand he's holding. Jason deciding to check raise the Queen 10 on the turn.
This is some amazing poker by both players here.
Move up 4 of hearts. The SBR is far less than 1, and Jason checks. Toby, surely Johan checks this one behind. He does, and they'll be chopping this one up. Jason decided to check raise the turn. And what a year it's been for you, mate. You had a really big score there at WPT. Remind us, was it the opening event for about 60,000?
Yeah, I think you have that right. Yeah, opening event, I was pretty stoked for that. The biggest cash I've had in quite some time, so cannot complain one bit. I seem to have run quite well at that venue, at the Gold Coast at the Star.
One of your favourite venues to play, casino. In the casino, do you like the venues like Eatons Hill and convention centres and type of stuff that are outside the casino?
Well, I like to say there's certain things and features about a venue that you like, but I feel like if you run good at a venue, you could be playing in like a swamp of feces, and if you run good, you'll say it's the best venue on the earth. So I do think it's one of my favourite venues, and it is a nice venue, truth be told, but I might be biased.
It is, as we have lost the table mic, so it's myself and Johan trying to bring you the action, and I can confirm the table mic is gone for the rest of the day. So it's just our dulcet tones in here with you. Do you remember your bust-out hand in the grind?
Ooh, the bust hand, to be honest, I had a few interesting hands. Bust hand was quite rudimentary and simple. It was just, I think it was Jigsy Open from EP when we were 7-handed. I just jammed 9 big blinds. I ran 9s with, can't remember. I think it was 9 or 10 big blinds on the button or cutoff. It was quite a simple hand. Just a flip and did go away this time.
But very good run in one of our flagship events. And what about the experience playing with Liz Bousson? 80 years of age, travels around in her van, playing poker tournaments, second in the grind last year to Dipper as well. What was it like playing with Liz?
Does she travel in a van? Does she live in a van?
Yeah, and just
at 80 years old.
At 80 years old and playing.
You know what's crazy? This is one of my dreams. Because I've always thought the cheat code for traveling and playing tournaments, the accommodation is so expensive. Living in a van seems like the end goal.
That is what Liz
and Liz is living
does.
it.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, I'd have to talk more with Liz about it.
80 years of age.
Yeah, she was a pleasure to play with. You would think just a generic 80-year-old woman might be easy to push around at a poker table. Not even close to that fact. Yeah, I saw many a times, including myself, her catching or setting the trap and springing a surprise.
What a story it was. Bit of vitriol in the chat for you, Johan. Apparently you slow rolled, Liz. Maybe talk us through that one.
I'm not sure what this is. Liam Murray, it seems like a slander. I'm not sure what he's talking about, to be honest. We'll have to get Liam to elaborate a little bit on this one.
Apologise if the sound is a little bit off, but we don't have a table mic. Really appreciative of Johan Lees joining us in the booth. Now, man of your experience, Johan, maybe talk us through what it's like for how the strategy changes for Rob and Jason when Toby's working with north of 10 million in a spot like this. Or should I be talking to a cash game player about ICM? Maybe just
to be honest, and as many other players around here would know, I don't pretend to know everything about tournaments, and especially final tables and ICM implications. But I'd assume the strategy would be that they are doing their best not to try and bust third when there's a decent chance that they could bust second. But
$10,000 pay jump.
There is a large amount of money to be made by being cautious right now for Jason and Robert. Given that they are aware that Toby is going to be opening up and going for it. So if you want to be going for the win, you could be willing to fight back like we just saw Robert Demilion do. And it'll put you in a much better spot to win the tournament or out.
What are the plans for you going forward, mate? You're going to go to APO. I know you're from New South Wales, so local series.
Yeah.
Will you be heading there? Rob has heard you. We are commentating on the delay, but he's choosing to fight back here with the 8-9 suited. He's going to peel one off in position. And that could nearly be as good as he could hope for on the 7-9-10. How does Toby proceed here?
It'll be interesting to see how Toby plays this. This connects very strongly with Robert's calling range.
Is this even a spot where we wouldn't choose to c-bet and just come with check?
In a normal certain sense, I think there would be quite a lot of checking, but a lot of times with ICM, he could maybe abuse that and c-bet too often. But he has gone for a check here, which I think is smart.
Rob, second in chips. Jason, 3.4 million.
And it's worth mentioning that Rob does have almost double the stack of Jason's. So he has much higher risk premium than Jason does. So it'd be extremely unfortunate for him if he were to bust second.
Feel that really condenses his range with this, betting half pot here on the flop.
Yes, it's hard to imagine he'd be too out of line here. And I think Toby would be aware of that. With the overpair and a gutter, Toby will come along.
3.8 in the million here. SBR creeping up towards 1. What are we doing here if we're Rob?
This is funny. I have a good feeling this will go check, check. And if I was Toby, there is an interesting move on the river.
He's looking down at his chips, Rob. That is all in.
All in, wow.
From Rob Demilion.
I will stop predicting what Rob Demilion is going to do.
I was on your side there as well, Johan. As
2 times now we've seen where Rob has a spot where he could choose between check or bet, and he's just taken all the aggression away from Toby.
Hold on. Toby's been in the tank here for a fair while. Johan, what are we thinking here?
I think he's just folding, just trying to. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Sometimes you just want to make sure you got the exact read on the situation before you let it go.
I reckon that could propel Rob Demillion close to the chip lead. That was a really big size in that spot on the flop. Would there even be an argument to just bin that one on the flop, or are you always seeing a turn there?
You know what's interesting? I think I don't mind seeing a turn if you think Rob is going to check back a lot, which I personally thought he was going to do. But when he's going to bet and then jam a lot of turns, the calling on the flop becomes quite speculative. But it's hard to predict exactly what Robert's up to.
The shove of the Ducks gets through there. We do apologise. Might sound a little bit echoey, but there's nothing we can do about it. The table mic's off, and because we are commentating off the delay, no way to rectify that. So it's just myself and Johan in the booth with you. Just asking you about your plans for the next few months. APO on the agenda. Johan, what about after that?
Yeah, so to be honest, I've been just on the road quite a lot recently. So I'm just looking forward to get home and chilling out for a week or so before APO and then getting into the thick of it. I'm quite looking forward to that series. It's one of the best series I've played in Australia, to be honest. I played that last year.
What's that a function of? Just the structure, the venue, the staff? Good friends of us are here, the APO?
Yeah, I think I'd say the stuff. There's quite a lot of good stuff at a lot of venues, but I think the way it's run and organised, I think it's run by poker players like Will and Lauren that understand what poker players would like, so that helps a lot into making great series. I almost cannot fault it. It is the greatest place in Australia to play poker. The only thing is the location, but I will be biased. If you live in Western Sydney, you probably love the APO and the Poker Palace. But for me, as a Sydney sider, it almost feels interstate as being an hour and a quarter drive away.
I reckon we'll be seeing a flop here as Toby looks to defend the King-9 suited.
I really enjoy seeing that all this talk about ICM, and Robert does not seem to be too concerned and is willing to fight back at any stop. And now he sees almost level with Toby.
Great flop here for Toby. Robert, backdoor flush draw. Backdoor straight draw. We'll decide to check this one back. That backdoor comes in, an ace or a 3 for Rob to take this one down. Toby, top pair. Is this a turn that you would find a lead on with a specific hand, Johan? What are your thoughts?
I would definitely like a lead in a spot where he's going to be perceived to be being very out of line and being very aggressive as the chip leader. We have a hand that is very much top of range. And also on a turn where now a hand like Rob has, an ace-X, is going to be very inelastic and sticky. So we can expect to not get a lot of folds, which means I feel like we want to bet a lot of top pairs here. But in saying that, we've seen a lot of aggression out of Rob Demillion.
This looks sizable, 2/3, 1.1 million. What are we thinking here with the ace-7?
It's a very tough spot here, but I think he will peel one off. But I'll be done predicting Yep, there you go. I think I'm 0-3 on predictions.
No, but that's for the same player.
Yeah,
You're 0-3 on Rob D'Amelio. Maybe you got a good read on everyone other
Granted,
than Rob.
I did see myself on stream, and I saw predictions of myself were off.
Yeah.
And mostly to my own play, but
but
it is a different thing to be predicting plays when you see the cards of both players.
Oh, look, definitely from my perspective, it definitely skews when you can see the cards.
It's hard to be unbiased.
Correct, 100%. Yeah. So, how far away are you from the venue at APO? Are you right in Sydney, or what are you? How close?
No, I'm in the Northern Beaches, so somewhat near the city, but to APO it's like an hour and a quarter or so. Which I did the commute last year, but you play a long day one, you bust out on a silly hand after 9 hours, and you have an hour and a quarter to think about on the way home.
Oh, that's no good.
It's not the most fun time. As we get back here, and Jason's raised with 10s on the button. He's limped on the button.
He has limped on the button.
Very interesting. Have we been seeing a lot of limps from Jason?
No, we haven't. This is the first one, and definitely. Jason does take some unorthodox lines at times, and we saw him limp the 7s blind v blind for 10 bigs, so sometimes looking to be a little bit more passive in some spots, but first limp, like open limp, I've seen him do, so interesting to see why he's employing that one there.
Maybe trying to bait Toby or Rob to bite on that perceived weakness with a strong hand. I don't mind that.
Now, after APO, we've got a lot of stuff on overseas. Johan, are you an overseas traveller to play, or are you going to stick around to the tax haven of Australia for poker players? Or are you going to be travelling overseas? What do you
I do love, people have often asked me if I have to travel for poker. I do not have to travel for poker, but I do get to travel for poker. So I do quite a lot of travelling. But to be honest, I do not enjoy playing too many tournaments in the United States for given tax reasons.
Yeah, so that is a big impact. It's so good to be able to play in Australia. So will you go for example, head over to the States?
There's a chance. I'm going over to Europe for some family things.
Apologies, I'm going to ask that again because my mic was off. Will you be heading over to... I turned the mic off, Liam, because you spilt a drink. That's why. Are you going to head over to the States for the WSOP? We had Didier in the booth this afternoon mention he's playing a full smack wham bam schedule. He's going to play absolutely everything for 6 weeks. So what about you?
To be honest, that sounds almost like living hell, playing 6 weeks in Vegas. Playing for Uncle Sam. It's not on the top of my list of priorities, but I would always love to go there. But I think I might just go for the last week or so this year.
Yeah.
Maybe just play the main and 1 or 2 side events. I've got family in the States as well, so I could mix that in with that.
Great. Are they close to Vegas, Nevada, or are they a bit?
Not really. They're in Montana, somewhat close. Everything is close compared to Australia. Once you leave Australia,
that is true.
Any 2 locations are close to each other.
That is true. As Toby Beans, the 10-5 here.
Interesting to see him fold this. Maybe, given the chip stacks a little bit earlier, it might have been going for it.
We had seen Toby do that, but he was tending to pick some high card, low card combos like Queen 4 and King Deuce. We'd seen him do that into Rob a couple of times, so maybe just the 10 high wasn't good enough for him on this occasion. As evened out a little bit, Toby was over 12 million at one point, but that big pot, blind v blind with the 8-9 suited, changed things a little.
Yeah. What about you, Jinxie? I'm sure all the fans at home are wondering to hear. What are your plans after this?
Absolutely no one's looking to hear that. Me and my partner, Peter, we're off to Europe for the winter. So I'll be in Europe for July and August. So I'll miss the Sydney series. Whoever will be warming my seat. Maybe you could be yourself. You're doing a stellar job in here. Maybe there's a job for you at the Sydney series at APT. As Jason picks up the Ace King. No, I'm off to.
Not my first bluff I've seen you run. As you can see.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
No. So me and Peter will be in Europe. Really excited for that. So not a lot of poker for me. I'll be back. I actually had a look. I fly back in when the second week of APL Millions starts. So maybe that will be my next.
Okay, that'll be a return to home soil.
Return to home soil. Straight into the APL Millions. Play the turbo flight on the Friday.
Oh,
yeah. When I fly in.
It's a big week, that second week.
Yeah, it is. But I'm back just in time for that. So looking forward to it. I'll be off to Spain, Portugal. I'm going to Turkey, but for not the reason. It's not the reason you'd think. A bit of civil unrest there, so maybe I won't go this year.
For kebabs, not airlines.
No, not airlines. And off to Belgium. We're going to Tomorrowland as well, so I may not even make it back.
Oh, wonderful! I wish. Yeah, that sounds like a great time.
There is a series. There's quite a big series on in Melbourne over the next couple of weeks, so might hit that one up and. Obviously, there's a new operator in town in Melbourne, so I might check that out as well.
I did hear rumours of this new card room opening.
Well, it's not rumours; it's open. It's
okay.
But running the same time as Crown, so not sure how they're going to go there. But they looked in their dates and couldn't change a venue apparently. But they're up and running. Different to see how that's all going to go. But it's good to have competition. Obviously, very very difficult to have a series in Melbourne. Tony Hasham was on the stream this afternoon. Tonight. He mentioned there is going to be some type of APT series in Melbourne. It will have a little bit of a different flavour to it, but it is difficult with the rules and regulations there. So
I have heard there are some peculiar regulations in Victoria.
Yeah, that's why their poker thrives up in New South Wales and Queensland. So if you do want to play basically all at Crown and Rob looking to raise this one up here with the ace-queen. As I can see Lachlan Crilly in the back of the booth here. No good in the PLO5 there, mate.
No, but I got Toby Diaz.
You got Toby Diaz. I did see Toby in the building. I did see
Kobe.
Got Kobe. I did see Kobe. I did see
He absolutely pooed me on the bubble. The FC bubble.
We go to quite a big flop here between Toby and Robert.
It's already 2.4 in the middle. A couple of clubs would be diabolical for Toby.
Oh, wow. This could be a bit of action.
It's just about as good as you'd want to flop if you're peeling it off with the 6-4.
Sure.
What are we doing here if we're Rob, do you think, Johan?
I'm going to try and get the first prediction right for Rob, and I think he's going to have a bet. I'm going 1 for 3.
You're going 1 for 4. It'll be 0-4, but no, you've got this one right.
Because I would have guessed check a good amount of time, but I think given his strategy, he seems like a very aggressive player, Rob. So I think, but it's going to be very interesting to see if Toby's going to find a check raise or just call and see a turn card.
SBR now about 1.5. What are we thinking here?
Can he push the man off a couple overcards with some outs? From what I've seen of Toby, he does seem like a very aggressive, capable player.
That
looked like all in
from Toby.
Wow.
Allsop and Rob.
Wow.
In the blender here, going to run through all the decisions that are available to him. Is he doing well enough?
I don't think he can call here. I think this is just a great shove from Toby. He's just found the spot and found a spot where Rob can't play back. One of the best ways to fight aggression is with further aggression. Fight fire with fire.
And look at the equities here. 6 high. 6 high actually. 6 highs ahead. 52%. And Toby is going to get that one through, Johan, with the 6 high.
Wow. You love to see it, don't you, Jinxie?
60% of the chips in play.
You can see why he's got 60% of the chips in play with plays like that.
I mean, when we limp call the raise with the 6-4 suited. We're going to have to take some lines like that from time to time.
You can't expect to just have the best hand every single time when you limp call with 6-4. You have to make it your own pot.
And he certainly did there. 60% of the chips in play for Toby Alsop. Cooper Feltham at home, very happy with himself. I'm tipping if you're in the chat. Cooper, let us know. Toby, is that a handy look to raise there on the button there, King 3?
That's interesting.
That is an interesting fold.
It might be. Yeah, sometimes you get away with bank robbery and you just have to take a day off, you know what I mean?
I tell you what, I did mention I won't be in the booth for the Sydney Series. Johan, you're in the front seat to take it down. If you want a job, it's there for you. As Jason appears, he's raised the King Jack versus Rob. Looks like that rail in the background. You can see Connor Burns there. Took down the big freeze, was it, yesterday?
Yes.
For $9,500. So quite a wealthy rail over there. And it was probably one of the best celebrations ever seen in the history of the Australian Poker Tour from Connor Burns. Yeah, I haven't seen a victory lap in my time, but apparently it happened.
Really? Yeah. I was not even here for the victory lap, but I was here when he was 4 or 5 tables left, and I heard some Scotty Wynn quotes whilst I was 4 tables away. Some you call it's all over, baby. So it's great to see. I tried to entice Connor. I offered him a drink today, but he taken the day off.
Yeah, but here he is railing his good mate Toby.
Get away with bank.
It's one of the greatest quotes in the history of No Limit Texas Hold'em. Thanks, Johan, for your contribution. As APT Ambassador Jared Thatcher in the chat. Lukey Irvin in the background there. Jared, Rob DeMillion has hair that me and Jared Thatcher would die for. I did just mention me and my partner Peter are after Turkey this year, but not for the hair transplant. Maybe a few years' time, me and Jared can head over together.
Toby has maybe not even heard of Turkey as a country. There is no necessity for him. He's in safe hands.
With Jared Thatcher's 2 trophies this week, maybe you can shout me that hair transplant, Jared Thatcher, as we are... Keep it down in the back of the booth on Sunday night. It's getting a bit silly here, approaching midnight local time, as Toby's going to see a flop here with the King 7.
Go on, Beavers.
This is a very big pot, especially for Jason's effective stack. Let's see how he plays it.
Right.
Jason raised this up. Is this a board you'd look to continue on? Maybe a smaller size here for Jason. Johan, what are your thoughts?
I think he could go either way here. It's a great board for him, but he'd be happy to just play a smaller pot with such a marginal hand.
It has gone check, but that looks like some type of bet on the turn from Jason as our graphics catch up. It is just under half. Oh, wait, no. No, sorry, our graphics are wrong as Toby didn't bet the 800K. Jason did bet there, which means our stack sizes are going to be wrong for the next couple of hands. As Toby Alsop still dealing with the chip lead here. It's a bit of commotion, a bit of carry on. We're going to the new series, WSOHT. I'm going to have a hazard a guess that's the World Series of Hair Transplants. And me and Jared Thatcher will be bracelet winners in that event, I would have thought. I was very surprised Jared thought he needed a hair transplant. I thought there were some luscious locks, but I know I'm struggling. But I didn't think Jared was, and he thinks he is. So.
Yeah, I think Jared's just got to back himself and with his hairline. He's, wow, we see here Toby just go for the all-in with the King 6
Are we looking this up? Are we looking this up, Johan? What are our thoughts here? We do have... We have more effective than Jason, but actually, I think our stack sizes are wrong because we got the previous hand wrong. I think Rob is the smallest stack. So if we can just guess about where we're at, can we call this off for the shortest stack?
Just like you're saying, I was just going to mention it. If he was the middling stack, this does get a lot more dicey. Even though even with the short stack and ace 4, how many bigs we at? 10?
It's 15300, so we're 13, nearly 14 big blinds. That's
quite marginal looking
going in as Toby jams the king 6. He's going to get looked up by the ace 4 offsuit of Robert Demillion. And we have a very large
even
pot
when he is
here.
ahead, what I was going to say is he's never going to be absolutely crushing Toby, even when he finds this king 6 off. So we'll see how this plays out.
As we do have an all-in and call here, blind v blind. And on the 6-7, sorry, the 3-7-3, not much doing there for Toby. He's going to need a king or a 6 to get heads up.
This is almost suspiciously safe here for Robert.
It is a little suspiciously safe, I do agree. It looks
like...
like...
But he managed to find the hold, which is huge.
That is huge. I'm going to try and get our effective stacks fixed because they do look a little incorrect, but that is at least an 8 million chip pot going the way of Rob Demillion.
That is a good spot from you with the effective stacks, Jinx. Yeah, I see why you're the man in the booth.
No.
Yeah. I see why they pay you the big bucks,
No,
all right?
no, mate, no big bucks here. As Jason Patel definitely working with more than 3 million.
Yes.
Going to try and get that one fixed.
I don't know.
The mic off.
As Jason working with 7 bigs here. Braden, Jinx, and Johan Lees in the booth with you. Johan, multiple big scores this year. It's good to get his insight. So how has the transition been from cash games over to tournaments? I've been a cash game player for a long time. How have you found that transition yourself?
It's an interesting answer. A bit of a... I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect. But when I first transitioned to tournaments, I thought everyone was an absolute peasant and they absolutely sucked. And then the more I played, the better I got. But I also realized how awful I was at my own ability. And series to series, my own perception, my own skill goes down as my own skill goes up.
Yeah.
But I've only been playing tournaments more seriously for about a year and a half now. But there's a lot more interesting dynamics and unique factors at play that you don't have in cash games.
And do you think that history in cash games really gives you a good footing to be able to become a really good cash game, really good tournament player in the long run, or is tournaments just something you're going to do from time to time for a bit of fun here and there?
It's hard to say for sure. I do find tournaments much more fun and rewarding. They have that sort of competitive aspect to it that cash games don't have. They're a bit grindy.
Yep.
Whilst I do rate my cash games abilities and my ability to make money much higher in cash games, there's something about tournaments that you just can't beat. Being deep in day 2 or day 3 of a tourney, you just can't beat that feeling.
Vibe in the room.
Yeah.
All the money's up top.
Exactly. And it doesn't even matter how much money is up top, relatively speaking.
Really interesting insights there from you, but
Congratulations also goes to Toby.
couldn't agree more. Especially cash games, you can play a long session. There's no trophy at the end of it.
No.
Your ROI specifically is going to probably be a lot bigger. But I'm just going to remind everyone at home these stacks are incorrect. Jason does not have 2.3 million chips, working hard to get that rectified, but we are commentating this to you on a delay, so not too sure how we're going to go. We're going to try and guess up here how much Jason is working with. Of course, we're on a 10K jump, 50K up top here for the winner.
Have you yourself, Jinxie, have you dabbled in cash games, or are you just more of a tournament player?
No, not really. I have it can feel like a little bit like Groundhog Day, but obviously started playing, 1-3 and 2-5 at Crown when you come from pub games and stuff. So obviously at the very beginning, as you would,
you win a pub tourney, you win $200, and
a
couple of brewskis, and we're going straight to the cash. Naturally, as you would.
No, very true. But I definitely have the same feeling as you. It's a card exposed there for
Interesting. There's always a bit of funky stuff going on when there's a little card flashed.
Agree more. But there is nothing like being deep, especially in a big event. Something you'd know a lot about. But it can feel like a little bit like Groundhog Day. And obviously in Melbourne, cash games, stuff's dried up a little bit. So it's, there's not much.
And just like you're saying earlier about the competition for tournament places, we need competition for cash game operators, which legislation-wise we just don't have at the moment in Australia, which is a bit of a shame.
And Melbourne just drawing absolutely dead to get anything going there. It's pretty heavily regulated. But
same in New South Wales, there's just room for one operator, which leaves a monopoly, which is just like any monopoly, not great for the consumers.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we go to a flop here.
Rob with the best hand. Don't think Toby going anywhere just yet. Really happy to have you in here. Johan, it will be myself and you bringing you to the end of the main event. So very happy for you to share your time with us.
I envisioned myself going deep in the main. I never thought it'd be this way, Jinxie, but I will gladly take it.
It's the next best thing. Toby comes with call. We'll see a turn. 7 of spades. Not much doing there for Toby. Check this back. Do we think?
I think
for another.
I think it's a little bit too good of a hand to start bluffing with. Just that middling hand, where it's too good to bluff and not good enough to value bet.
And King High going to take this one down with the check mark. See if Toby decides to to come with any funky stuff. Cute.
Interesting river. You got to wonder in Toby's shoes if he's going to expect Robert to check back the turn with many ace-x. But granted, on this double paired board, maybe he believes Queen High is good. But if he doesn't, maybe he goes for a big bet here.
It does go check, check, and King High will take this one down.
You got to wonder at this moment just how the psyches and mental games are just changing. It's got to be a little tough being the mega chip leader and then losing a few big pots, some out of your control, and then now Rob's seemed like he's getting a commanding lead here and taking the front foot going into this final three battle.
As Jason definitely working with over 2.4 million, but we'll be able to work that one out for you shortly as he does pick up aces three-handed on the button. We have gone up a level here as well to 200, 400, 400k as he looks to raise the aces. Definitely has more than 1.6 million behind if you are just tuning in. A few difficulties here. We've lost the table mic and the stacks are a little bit off, but we're trying to do the best we can for you.
If I had to eyeball it, it looks like Jason has 36 behind after his 800k raise.
Rob going to see a flop here with the 9-7. Jason Patel with the aces. And on the 3-3 deuce, not much doing there for Rob. Jason has, this looks like a big size with the aces here.
I know it's easy to say from the booth, but with aces specifically, I would love to see a check back given how short stacked he is.
Jason
but it's better to win a small one than lose a big one sometimes with aces.
It's not the old saying. Jason's been here before. My good buddy in the booth, Liam J, who I reckon chopped a main event with Jason Patel. Am I right or wrong? Has Jason won an APT main event? Here, so Jason has already chopped an APT main as well. So he's been here looking to go one better. Wow. He's been here before.
Wow.
Big Jace.
That experience you got to think has got to come in handy at this point in the crunching time.
You think so?
When, people are feeling the pressure.
As Rob DeMillion with the Jack 10 suited.
Lost to the great Graham Cowan.
Graham Cowan taking that one down. Less said about that, the better, as Jason and Liam and Graham chopped that one up. Jack 10 suited here versus the Queen 4 of Hearts. It's got some interaction here, Johan.
Yeah, an interesting board here. You could expect a lot of action. Interesting theme of this three-handed play. I've seen a lot of betting with a lot of aggression with middling hands here, and it's worked out in every case so far. We'll see if someone who's as aggressive they are like Rob maybe will put the pressure on in a hand like Jason's here.
As Jason checks back the Queen 4 there in position, what are we thinking about that one? He has checked it's gone check on the river.
Yeah, it's a slightly unorthodox play there, Jinx. Yeah. To check that back. I think he's just trying to preserve his stack.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking he can't get called by better. But some people might argue that you could get called by worse hands there with two pair.
And Rob had a potential candidate to call a bet there on the river, as Rob here has the pocket jacks on the button. Seen a lot of action here, Johan. The aces, the jacks. Toby got a big rail behind him. As Jason folds the 10-3 suited. Once our graphics catch up, see what Toby will look to defend here. Three-handed left in our APT main event, $50,000 up top. Toby with the chip lead from about 20 left, all the way down to three-handed, but Rob and Jason making steady inroads into that stack. As Toby defends the 8-6, not much doing there for him though. Potentially a board you'd look to continue on, Johan?
Yeah, I think we could go either way here. You could go for a bet or a check. If I'm going to guess, like we're saying, you would go for the aggressive option.
It comes with 400, one big blind. We are at 200K, 400K. Any devious intentions here from Toby, do you think?
If we were seeing some devious, they would be rather devious. And I wouldn't hate it versus a button raise.
It is coming. It looks like this is going to be a check raise here. This might put Rob in a little spot here with the king on board with the pocket jacks. What are we thinking?
This goes back to when we've gone between betting or checking a hand like jacks in position. When you're up against a player who's willing to check raise these backdoor bluff hands, you're going to be put in tough spots. So we'll see if he's willing to call down and see what plays out.
Rob Demillion certainly in a tough spot here. That's an all.
Wow.
From
To be honest, once again, I would have never guessed. But that just takes any aggressive maneuvers from Toby out of play.
And once he sees that back on the stream, he's going to wonder, there are certain times that check raise would have maybe worked, but not against the great Rob Demillion.
Yes.
Of course, nearly won himself a bracelet a couple of years ago. Got really, really close there in
Vegas.
In Vegas,
Wow.
It was like a 6,000 runner 1K.
Really?
In the seniors event, it could have even had more runners than that. I think Rob just missing bubbling the final table on that one. So a lot of experience in these big, deep spots, does Rob?
Wow. Those are the tough fields to navigate when they're multi-thousand player fields.
Of course, as Toby here.
And I could imagine Demillion's aggressive style in a senior field.
Oh, yeah.
He could be the young whippersnapper, per se, in game style,
Do you know
just
what?
from what I've seen.
I don't want to do Rob a disservice. I think it was the super seniors. I'm not sure what the age group
The
is.
super seniors.
There's a seniors and a super seniors. So I'm not sure, but he definitely nearly peeled off a bracelet in that event. So very experienced is Rob Demillion, a regular on the Australian tournament circuit.
Well, I feel like youth, just in life and in poker, is a mindset. And Rob's got that youthful, aggressive mindset, which I love to see.
Gentleman of the game is Rob Demillion. Toby back down with the pack now, has lost the chip lead for the first time today, I'd say. At least the last couple of hours.
Since I've been in the booth, almost every opportunity where you could go between passive or aggressive action, Rob has taken the aggressive action, which I think is if you can only give one piece of advice to people, I think that's a great piece of advice.
Hello, I might interject here as we have a huge clash between stacks. Jack 9 goes check on the flop.
We've got a bit of a reverse poker here. As soon as we flop huge, snap check. It's hard to see this going without a lot of money in the pot.
This ace of diamonds does present a few chop outs for Rob, however. Let's see as Jason puts in what looked like a reluctant call. But the Jack 10, the 10 will play.
Wow.
Could this has surely got to get a lot bigger than it already is, Johanna.
Yes.
This flop has gone check. What are we thinking here on the river?
Both players are sitting here and they're thinking about Vegas and the Mirage right now. But only one of those players is there.
Jason Patel with the Jack 10. That 10 of spades, a very important card. What size do you reckon Rob is going to come with here? It looks like it's over a mil.
A very healthy size, it looks like.
1.2 from Robert Demillion.
And very quickly.
This is
wow.
a quick back from Jason Patel. What are we thinking here if we're Rob? The flop's gone check.
It's very hard for me to say from the booth when I can see the cards right now.
Apologies. More than a click pack. So Rob's gone 1.2
it's
and
a large
Jason's
raise.
gone to 3.
And it's worth mentioning the graphics do have it wrong. He's made it 3 million and he has at least that amount, if not more, behind. So he does not have just 600k behind. Generally, when you see people play passive flop, passive turn, suddenly they want to put all the money in on the river. It will be a very strong hand. But that's easy to say now. Or right now, Rob has a very strong hand, and that is trip jack. So it's going to be very tough to lay this down.
Can Rob get away from this?
We are blind v blind.
We are.
So this is really an outrageous cooler. So if I saw anything other than a call, it would just be spectacular.
I mean, that flop going check. Is that is a call? Rob checking to see if there's any chops on board. He's going to table his cards anyway and get the bad news as Jason Patel wins that monstrous pot. And I can tell you right now, Johan, he's got a lot more than 8.6 million chips in those stacks as we try and get them updated for you. Is there any way Rob could have got away from that on the river?
It's very tough. You'd have to pick your man straight. It would be almost disrespectful to fold. You'd have to give your man no credit of having bluffs. So I think it's just unfortunate for Rob there. It's just trips on trips, blind be blind. Money will be going in, especially given how quiet the action was on the flop and the turn.
I mean, there could have been a way in which all the money could have got in there.
100%. It could have easily gone check, bet, raise, and then all the money gets in very easily. So if you're in the Robert Demillion camp, you might be happy that we just lost the minimum, really.
Yeah, don't disagree with you there as a 7 suited is going to be good enough for Rob on the button here, you would think.
There's so many wild swings here, 3-handed. It's all a mental game of just holding it together after it doesn't go your way.
And I reckon Rob just sizing up what Toby has behind. Again, if you're just tuning into our 3-handed action, 50k up top. Our stacks aren't 100% correct. We'll try and rectify that for you, but Jason looks like he's working with piles. That's an open jam from Rob Demillion. Now looks like on our graphics about 15 bigs, but I think it is less than that.
If I had to just eyeballing the stacks, it looks like Jason has a lot more than it presents, and Toby has quite a lot less. But it's hard to say for an exact figure.
Jason Patel is definitely in the chip lead. Was quite short when we were 3-handed, and
it just goes to show, a couple of orbits, a bit of patience, a chip and a chair, and suddenly leading the game 3-handed when you were put under the pump.
As Jason throws in what looks to be a ton of chips there. Let's try and raise to 800k. What are we doing here with the King 5, Johan? Not getting a bit greedy or look to defend?
It's an interesting spot. You'd assume Jason's going to be racing quite a lot now as the chip leader. You could even mix this in sometimes a bit of an aggressive re-raise. But that would be something you do sparingly.
As he does decide to defend. And on the 8-8-8-6-6, Jason in pretty good shape to take this one down as he snap checks back.
It's fascinating to watch both of these players use less than 1 second of their allocated time.
I know.
In a lot of hands. Interesting if they're trying to find timing reads on each other here.
Jason puts in a stack of purples there and takes that one down. On the grind, so we haven't introduced time banks for the main event as yet, but on the grind final table, how did you find the time banks change things for you personally, or did you notice it had changed anything else with the other players?
For me personally, I seethe and hate Timex because I'm quite I don't have quite the knowledge and experience a lot of other tournament players have. So I in certain spots require like a little bit more time to figure out a situation. Granted, when I have a snap decision, I'll make it quickly. So I enjoy being able to take my time. And there's something about having the clock in your face that really puts you onto the pump and the pressure's on you.
As Ace-King suited here for Toby, he does have what we think is less than 10 bigs, potentially. So this one might just... He's going to raise less than all in. Ace-King of Hearts. Whole lot of hand here on the button for Toby Alsop.
Yeah. I think the less than all in here is just to save him and maybe give himself an out if it goes jam behind him.
As it gets through very easily versus the 4-2 and the 4-5 suited.
You could definitely just min-raise the ace-king suited on the button, but you'd be doing that in the hope that his opponents play back with hands that are dominated by ace-king. And maybe he feels that isn't the case, so he'd rather just take down the pot.
Love that analysis from you, Johan, as even though you bubbled the PLO5 today, very happy that you're able to share a little bit of time with us in the booth here, as we'll both bring you to the end of this main event. $50,000 up top and pocket nines on the button.
We're seeing
Rob.
some big hands here,
Three-handed.
three-handed.
And this has already gone all in for Rob Demillion.
The blinds are going up. Wow.
You've called it in, Johan. We've seen a lot of huge hands, three-handed, and this is about as a cooler spot as you'll get. Toby will be looking to make a $10,000 pay jump if this gets in, and there's no version where it doesn't. Jason with the pocket queens. Rob, pocket nines in huge danger as Jason just decides to call. He's got Toby covered. Puts that one in, and it's going to be queens versus nines for all of the chips here. Jason will have a nearly insurmountable chip lead if the queens hold as we go to a flop. Rob Demillion all in. This is just a cooler, isn't it, Johan?
This is three-handed, how short they are.
And we get the queen in the window.
That's all she wrote with that flop.
It is dead to running quads, and we'll say goodbye to Robert Demillion in third place. 24,600. That is good for one of the great runs in a 506 runner event. We are going to go heads up. And if you took that ROI every day, Johan, you'd be a very rich man.
You would be. And it's crazy how the momentum can shift so quickly in tournaments. Three-handed, I was just mentioning how Rob, it felt like he was getting in the hang of things and he was picking up momentum and he was about to finish things off. And then two big hands, two coolers, to be honest, three-handed, and he's out of the tournament third.
You're really unfortunate there with that Jack-6 versus Jack-10. But there is a world, you know, probably many of the worlds where that hand actually gets in on the turn or the flop. So he gave himself a chance, but ran the nines into the queens in the end anyway, as Jason racks those chips up.
From what I've seen in the booth, he should be very happy with the way he played. And he gave himself the best opportunity to win with his very aggressive style. And I enjoyed watching it from the booth, to be honest.
And I can tell you right now, Toby's got nowhere near 4.7 million. On our graphics say that this is a 3-1 chip lead. I reckon it's closer to a 6-1, maybe 5-1 chip lead.
If I had to guess, maybe 2.6 for Toby.
Okay, so
and then infinite. Doesn't really matter too much, but
about 18 maybe.
Piles for
Jason. For Jason. And look at this. Look at the way he stacked these chips. This is diabolical. This is diabolical.
You know what it feels like when you're watching poker in a movie and the way they stack the chips? And it's like, no one does that. That's not how they do it in real... No, they do it.
And the hand is like a straight flush versus quads versus a royal flush.
That's the way Jason's got a chip stack right now. When you just got too many, it doesn't matter the order. You just got all of the chips. We need a couple of gold bullions and some coins and stuff.
It's after 5 days in the booth. We've lost control here. It's a couple
and Toby has got his chip stacked like someone who needs to know exactly how many big ones he has.
Exactly right.
Which is a night and day difference.
Yeah, absolutely. This is diabolical from Jason. Have a look at these chips. And it looks like Jason working with a 7-1 chip lead potentially. Toby, thanks to Johan's calculations, probably around 2 mil. And look at Toby has been chip leader of this event all day. Look how things can swing so easily.
Exactly. It's just like a mental game. You got to readjust. Suddenly you're the shorty, but he's got to be happy that his head's up and made the pay jump.
Of course, $34,000 guaranteed for either of these two, and $50,000 up top.
Such an interesting dynamic when you first start playing heads up, because it's a completely different game to even three-handed and full ring. And there's a bit of a feeling out process of how does my opponent want to approach this game.
Well, Toby's come with a limp here, 6-3 suited on the button, and Jason checks back the Queen 10. And we've got a bit of interaction here, Johan. What are we thinking? The SBR is definitely less than what we're looking at now.
Wow, there's a little bit for both players going on here.
It certainly is. Toby. Something's happened here.
Wow.
This is all in call.
All in a call. Wow.
This could be over if Toby doesn't find a 6 or a 3 or some running straight cards. Jason Patel will be your APT main event winner.
From third place, three-handed with a shorty. Can he do it?
That's just about the worst card in the deck.
Wow.
He hits it, but it's all over. No.
The necessary 2 on the turn to counterfeit the future river.
And
congrats to Jason Patel. That's unbelievable.
Jason Patel is your APT main event
Can you believe
winner.
what you're witnessing?
No, not
With
really.
Crumbs three-handed, he pulls it back.
He does. He had about 2 million compared to Rob and Toby's 8.5 million chip stacks, and goes to prove you're never dead in this game. Johan, thank you so much for bringing us to the culmination of the main event. Your insights have been unbelievable. We had a good fun up here. There's always a spot for you in the main event and in the booth with us. I know you'd rather be playing, but thank you so much for your contribution in the booth.
Appreciate that, Jinxie. Very kind words.
That's it for me here. I won't be joining you for the next series, so whoever warms the seat, good luck to them. Thank you so much for the guest commentators in the booth with us. We had Liam Murray, Shelley Pooley, Jared Thatcher, and a good mate of mine, Liam G, who shared a lot of free time with us in the booth. Sorry, a lot of appreciation to him as well. He was with us to 3:30 in the morning last night in the grind, and Johan today. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in Sydney on July the 25th in New South Wales. That will be our next series. Don't go anywhere. We will see you in July on the 25th. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for your interaction in the chat. Well done to Jason Patel, winner of the APT main event for 50K. We'll see you in July in Sydney.